Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to today's Wyatt Sicks video. We've left it a couple of days since Raw so that we can gather together some of those thoughts and theories that people have had. Obviously, we did a video on the second channel yesterday where we took a look at people's reaction to Monday. But now we can kind of dig into some of those thoughts and theories a little bit. There's not tons actually in here. I mean, obviously we know that Nightbird has now ended. It means that we don't tend to get much during the week now. There was a thought that we might have got something on NXT. I don't think that it was a big thought, but obviously we know there was a couple of numbers that got shown during Monday's vignettes that has kind of sparked a little bit of a conversation. There's also a debate as to what the numbers are. We don't know if it's 25 and 28 or if it was 29 and 28 and if it was a bit of a countdown. I'm thinking it was 29, 28, and I think we've seen those numbers before. It could be counting down to something, or it could just be there as like a bit of an effect, you know, to provide a little bit of an atmosphere, if you will. So it's hard to know what those numbers are there for. But one of the theories was if it is 25 and it's 28, that just happened to be the dates of NXT and SmackDown this week, which I thought was a really good theory, but nothing came of that, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's kind of where we are at the moment. But I can tell you that almost to the hour, Nikki Cross, tweeted out this Wyatt Sicks image. And we've spoke about this before. This is the official Wyatt Sicks account, which does seem a little bit strange. But there we go, 23,000 followers. And it has been retweeted by WWE. So we can have confidence that this is official, right? And I was just going to start with this because I think this image is so interesting. I think it's interesting because it reminds me of like a family portrait. We have spoke about this during the NXT live stream. I see them all standing there and they're all looking quite, you know, standing up straight. And it just reminds me of like a family photo. And, you know, I think this is something which is quite striking. This is one of the most powerful images that I've seen because you can see that they're, or I get the impression that they're obviously very close now, very family-like. I could believe that these are all like brothers and sisters or cousins or something along those lines. It's one of those kind of scary pictures that you might see on the wall of like a haunted house, you know? So I really do like this picture. And I was saying during the live stream, this group represents those people that have been forgotten. It represents those people the people that have been downtrodden. We know that Erick Rowan was released. We know that Bo Dallas was released. We know that Dexter was sort of pushed to the side. They didn't really have anything for him. We know that Nikki was pushed to the side. They didn't really have anything for her. We know that after Schism broke up in NXT, Joe Gacy didn't really have any direction. So all of these have kind of been pushed to the side or let go. These are the people that have been forgotten. These are the people that are downtrodden, that feel undervalued, feel overlooked. I think if we do these promos where they talk to us as themselves from the heart, just like we saw with Taylor Bo, right, the other day, I think that they could really come across very, very well to people. And I think there could be a real connection with them on quite a deep level. And I was talking about how Stone Cold Steve Austin sort of represented someone standing up against their boss, someone that was not going to take it anymore and was now kind of lashing out. And you can't do that with your boss because you'll end up getting fired, but you can watch Stone Cold do it. Stone Cold did it during the Attitude Era, and it really resonated with people. That kind of, I'm not gonna take this anymore attitude. And this group obviously have kind of got a little bit of that. Certainly, it's a hard comparison to compare them to Stone Cold, but this is a group that aren't going to take it anymore. This is a group that are going to fight back against the establishment, just like how Stone Cold fought back against Mr. McMahon. Well, this group are going to fight back against Triple H, against the producers, against the people that they feel held them down and or push them to the side. And honestly, I really could see this group connecting with people on a deeper level than we normally see. More than just catchphrases, more than just hand gestures, right? I could really see this group kind of symbolizing that rebellion, you know? So I'm so excited by the group now that they're here. I'm so excited by these promos that they're doing. I think it's the right way forwards. I think we're all really interested to see what we're going to be getting next week. I did get asked a really interesting question during the live stream, and that was, if you could change one thing about the recent vignettes, what would you change? And my honest answer was, I don't know that I would change anything, right? Other than make them a little longer, because I wanted more. But wanting more is not a bad thing, because, of course, I want to tune into next week. I want to see what else comes next week. So wanting more is not a bad thing. I think one of the other things I'd be quite interested in is, you know, if Uncle Howdy was kind of sat there smiling and then he just flickered and you could see that it was actually the therapist that was really sat there, you know? So basically they got the therapist to ask the questions, but they didn't want us to see the therapist, so they edited in Uncle Howdy over the top. And maybe that's why the voice sounds a little strange, because it is a bit of a mixture of a couple of voices. And I think that could be really interesting, because we want to know during the QR codes why the therapist was taken. So they went to a therapy session, and at the end they said, do you want to meet them? And then the therapist went missing, and then eventually she was returned, right? But we don't actually know where she went, what she did, what she saw. I think it would be so interesting if these vignettes are the reason why she was taken. I think that would be really interesting, because it would answer a big question we had from the QR campaign. And the way I think you could show that is just by having that Uncle Howdy character just glitch, just to show that he's been sort of edited in afterwards. And the real person that was asking the questions was that therapist. I suppose the only problem with that would be anyone that didn't follow the QR codes wouldn't understand what was going on. That would be the only problem with it. But I do like it still. The other thing I'd be tempted to do is put a few more teases in there. I think it'd be good if we saw, like, you know, some new initials that we could get our teeth into. You know, if we had something else that was in there, maybe we got to see a new character or something new in there that we could, like, have some theories about. There didn't feel like there was loads, to be honest, and maybe that's something they could just look to turn up a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, changes, minor. I thought they absolutely killed it. I thought they did a brilliant job. And it seems like many of you did as well. For those that didn't hear, I did a live stream where I asked the question, what did you think about that? The options were, it was bad, it was okay, it was great, or it was amazing. That was the top option. 74% amazing for that promo, for that vignette. Amazing. Brilliant. So, yeah, love this picture. Right, this was the next big thing. I know many of you have seen this already. It's got 70,000 views, which is at 65,000 views, which is incredible. But yeah, this is... I was really excited when I found this. I think that kind of comes across at the start. I was actually looking for a picture to use for a thumbnail. So I wasn't really looking, I wasn't really investigating, I wasn't really doing anything. I was just looking for a good picture to use for a thumbnail. And if you go to WWE.com, they actually have the official photos from Raw, from SmackDown, from NXT. So I was just kind of going through those official pictures that they upload for each show. And I came across this. And as soon as I saw it, I don't know why I spotted it, but the circle that we had been looking for was on the boot. The reason why we'd been looking for this is because we had found the red circle on all the other characters. We just could not find it at this point on Nikki Cross. It's not a big deal, but I think the fact that every one of the characters has got that red circle on them is just a lovely way of kind of tying them all together. It also makes me think that when Alexa comes in, we need to keep an eye out to see, has she got a red circle? If she does, where is it, right? Because they could get quite creative with where to put these red circles. Obviously, the one on Huskus is around the snout. The one on Uncle Howdy is actually on the top of his hat. So they don't make them just super obvious. Sometimes they're a little bit hidden away, like this one actually, which, you've got to see the side of her boot to find it. So it's on the side of the boot for Nikki. The one for the rabbit for Erick Rowan is quite obvious. That's on the end of the mallet. So that one is quite obvious. And the one for Mercy is on the back of his jacket. I think that was quite obvious. As long as you could see round the back of him, it's on the back of his jacket. So yeah, all of them have got these red circles. It ties the group nicely together. And as we said, it does beg the question that when Alexa comes in, where is her red circle going to be? That's definitely something we're going to be keeping an eye on. Right, Persephone, Roller Derby, shout out to you, says, maybe the red hints show what they contribute. So Huskus, he can smell out his targets. Bunny Boy, I do love Bunny Boy, wax falls to help them remember. Wax as in, not wax as in, do you know what I mean? But like... Howdy plays with your mind and worms his way in. Mercy has his family's back and they can lean on him. And Abby is the one that delivers the messages. Now, I don't know that this is what they're doing, but I just thought that was such a good theory. I really enjoyed reading that. How the red circles are in these locations for a specific reason. You know, it's on the boot for Nikki Cross because she's the one that delivers the messages. She delivered the box. She was also the first person we saw when the group arrived, and she sort of pointed us in the right direction. We believe it was Nikki that was the bride during the Nightbird campaign, and she was pointing there as well. So it does seem to be that she is pointing us in the right direction and delivering things to us. So the circle being on her boots, is there a connection there? I do like that. And then obviously all the thoughts about all the other ones as well. So yeah, I thought that was really good. So excellent work. Kelly says, did anyone notice the 2 security guards had been knocked out and thrown over the announce table? My thoughts on the smoke, I don't think it's meant to be smoke. It's meant to be fog, and it's part of them. Fog, hang on, it just signifies the arrival. This is just a thought. So we've got a fair bit to unpack with that comment. So yeah, it is true. Michael Cole actually did mention this during the commentary as well, that after Nikki had delivered the box and walked away, the security guards that had been sat at the back were now slumped over the commentary table. And it could be that, you know, one of the other members got to them. Like, that could be very possible. So it could be that, you know, Mercy or Howdy or Huskus kind of attacked them whilst we were focused on Nikki in the ring. So yeah, they were slumped over this commentary table, and I don't know quite what these people saw, but it has been pointed out that they didn't seem massively impressed. So I don't know if these guys like got up and just sort of chucked themselves onto the commentary table. I would hope not. I would much rather that they actually brought out Howdy or Huskus or Mercy or something like that. Because you know there's potentially fan footage that might emerge that's going to show these guys chucking themselves on the commentary table, and those are the little details that I could see doing the rounds and people not being crazy about, shall we say. So I don't know, we'll have to see what comes of that. Thankfully nothing yet. Haven't seen any fan footage of that moment actually, like with the security guards. In regards to the fog and the smoke, that's obviously been a bit of a talking point. But we do have what I think is a really good explanation on it, which I really liked, which I'm going to go up here, right? So Sicks is here, right? So to give you the backstory on this, I listened to Jim Cornette's podcast because I wanted to know what he was going to say. I knew he was going to criticize the arrival of this group, but I didn't know what he was going to say. And he said he dreaded watching it. He ended up watching it. It was worse than he thought, right? He's not on board with it. He doesn't like it. Now, I think there's two ways you can deal with that. You can either go, screw you, right? Old man, blah, 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 blah. Go shout at the clouds. Or you can go the other way and go, okay, how do we bring him on board? For those people that don't like it, how can we try and win them over? And if I was working in creative, I would much rather want to go in that direction than the screw you old man direction, right? So I listened to his video and I was listening to what he was criticizing. And to be honest, there wasn't really much that you could really pin down. He did question about the smoke backstage. And he was like, why have they got fog machines backstage? Which I thought was a valid question. I explained it in my mind that it was the circuitry that had short-circuited. And so that's where all the smoke had come from. So in my mind, I sort of explained it that way. But that explanation doesn't fit what we saw on Monday, where Nikki arrived and the smoke filled the ring. Like, nothing short-circuited at that point, so there's no reason for all of that smoke. So my theory that I had before, it no longer fits. And, you know, it's these little things that people have got a problem with. They're not massive issues, but these are the little things that are just sort of, I don't know, proving to be barriers, if you will. They're just sort of getting in the way. They're stopping people from really enjoying this or getting closer towards enjoying this. So that's kind of why the smoke conversation has featured, right? But I really like this explanation from Sicks is here. Says, look, simple answer. WWE already has smoke machines on deck for production purposes, which is true. You can find loads of people that have smoke as part of their entrances. So we know they do have smoke machines. So Wyatt Sicks are using their own stuff against them. It's a bit like pulling a fire alarm to cause a distraction. And I think that's brilliant. I really, really, really think that is such an excellent explanation. It does lead me to go one step further, and that is what I would like to see them doing that now. I would like to see them, like, you know, causing... I don't want to see them standing there in the aftermath of the destruction that they've caused. I want to see them with fire extinguishers, like letting them off and laughing their heads off. I want to see them with the smoke machines turning them on and it just pumping out smoke. I want to see them with baseball bats smashing the gorilla position around. Like, I want to see the destruction that they're causing, because I think that would then go some way as to solidifying this as the correct answer. This is why they are using their own stuff that's lying around kind of against the company. Because the truth is, like, the company is the target, really. This is a group that feels that they were pushed to one side, they were released, they were abandoned. You know, we know that Raw and SmackDown stepped up security to try and keep this group away. So, you know, that you can understand why people are like, why are the smoke machines? Why are they smoke machines? Why is WWE providing smoke machines for a group that they don't want in the building, right? But this is why this answer works. They're using their own stuff against them. It's like pulling a fire alarm to cause a distraction. And I can already hear people going, look, this isn't a big deal. And you're right, it's not a big deal. But we're trying to really identify why people that are struggling to get on board with this are struggling to get on board with this. And this is just one of the reasons as to why. And it just leads us down a road where we can go, yeah, imagine if we did that. Imagine if we did show them setting off the smoke machines, maybe coming out and setting off the pyro and laughing about it, right? And then later in the show, someone comes out, puts their arms out for pyro. The pyro doesn't go off because the Wyatt Sicks set it off earlier in the show, and so there's no pyro for them. And like the superstars come out, and they're like, the pyro doesn't go off, and they're a bit confused, and they just sort of make their way down to the ring. Like, can you see where this can lead? Can you see like the knock-on effects that this can have, you know? And like Adam Pearce running around backstage trying to figure out like, right, we need to get new fire extinguishers because obviously we're not complying with health and safety now because the Wyatt Sicks just set off all the fire extinguishers. There's no smoke anymore for other people's entrances. Wyatt Sicks set them off as well. You know, there's someone injured that's being loaded into an ambulance. Like, it's just a nightmare. It is a nightmare for Adam Pearce and a nightmare backstage. Wyatt Sicks, they're just causing problems, right? It's not about like wiping out a load of people. If they wanted to do that, they could do that. But they're just toying with people at this stage, just mocking and having fun, right? Because they feel like they were mocked and they feel like people made fun of them when they weren't being given the opportunities that they deserve. So, God, I do love some of these conversations, and it's so interesting how some of these things can lead to some really interesting, juicy conversations. So that was all of that. Yeah, then I got sent this by TJF, and I love, look at these. These are like cards. There's Howdy, right? So we've got this really cool Howdy one. And we got this one as well, which I think looks awesome. That one, Rambling Rabbit. And there's Huskus. We don't have one for Mercy, but these are absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So I actually sent these to WWE Shop. I just tagged them in a tweet, and I was like, you've got to make these. Imagine if this was like the Joker card in a deck of cards, or the King cards. And then this is the Queen, of course. Maybe this one could be the Joker or the Jack. Maybe that's the Joker. So, like, there we go. You know, some really great looking cards there, which I thought was so cool. I would love it if they made those. Right, SlamX said, looking at what happened, looking at what appears to be a star on Howdy's knee pads, Bray has been referred to as the North Star in the QR codes. Super excited to dig into some more Easter eggs with this gear of the Wyatt Sicks, and it is true, there does appear to be a star there, right? A star on Howdy's knee pads, which is very, very interesting. So this was a new image that got shown off. I believe this was one from backstage, maybe. And you can see the star over here. There's been a few thoughts that maybe Nikki is wearing a couple of different masks, but I don't think she is. I think she's only got this mask. And I think that like some of the lighting can make it look a little different. Some of the different perspectives can make it look a little different as well. I'm still under the impression that that is not her actual mouth, and that is the mouth on the mask. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, you can see the Hawaiian shirt better here that Mercy is wearing, which is obviously really cool. That's it's another little connection to his puppet. And yeah, you know, as we get more of these kind of images, then we can see a little more detail in the attires. It's brilliant. Yeah, really, really cool. So, you know, loving all of it so far. I think they're doing such a good job with this. So cool. So, a big thank you to Zach for tagging me in that from SlamX. Wrestling Rianne says, right, Uncle Howdy's voice theory. If you watch the clip closely, you'll notice that Howdy's voice is a mixture of multiple voices layered on top of each other. Interestingly, you can hear a bit of a feminine voice in there. Why do that for a menacing character? It sounds like it's all of the Wyatt Sicks members' voices together. Erick, Joe, Dexter, Bo, Nikki, and potentially Alexa in some places. if you listen carefully, sometimes it's a little more feminine. It sounds a bit more female. This leads to the journal entry brought to light again by Slam X to be free, which mentions I am nobody. The second line is I am all of us. I think this is coming from Howdy as his alter ego, and by giving him everyone's voice, it reiterates the fact that versus Bo, who is singular, Howdy is all of their voices combined, literally and figuratively. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. We do have some other kind of mixture of voices in there. I think, to be honest with you, it's probably the tape that has sort of degraded. I think the reason why they mess his voice up is because they don't want a character like this to just sound normal and just sound like Bo. I think they sort of want this character to have a little bit of disruption in the voice, some sort of effect on the voice. And I think it comes back a little bit to the VHS tape. The VHS tape, for those of you that didn't really deal with VHS tapes, you'll know that they quite easily warped, and that did affect the picture. It affected the sounds. And I think, to be honest with you, I think it's probably a bit of a warping effect on his voice due to the VHS tape. And I think they did it so that it didn't make his voice sound so human, sound so normal. So I love these theories that it's all of these voices like being put together and all of that. But personally, I don't think it's that. I think it's the VHS tape warping. And I think the reason as to why they've added that effect is because they don't want him to sound normal. They don't want him to really sound just like Bo. But because it's all on a VHS tape, they can go down that road. So, yeah, I mean, look, we're obviously going to get more information as these vignettes continue. But this is one of the kind of big theories that's out there about the voice. And could it connect to this? I am nobody. I am all of us. So, Wrestling Rian, shout out to you. Slam X, shout out to you. Lil Fuego said, I wonder how often Bo sits in the Firefly Funhouse to think or reminisce. And is there anywhere, is this where the Wyatt Sicks reside? So is this where the Wyatt Sicks reside? To be honest with you, I think that there's a chance that the Funhouse was in Bray's mind, right? That's what I think Bruce Pritchard said in the Bray documentary. The Funhouse was in Bray's mind. I think, though, that you can't really show what's in somebody's mind. Like, you can't put that onto TV. Like, you can't show that. You can't show people's thoughts. The only way you can show people's thoughts is if you actually go to a studio and record what is in your mind, right? So I'm wondering if the set is real, right? I mean, we know it's real in real life, but I'm wondering even in kayfabe if it's real. And so the reason for that was because Bray wanted to show what was in his mind. We've also seen the puppets popping up in the background in corridors. So I think the puppets have like confirmed to be real as well, and to operate in the real world because they've been in the background as wrestlers have been making their way down to the ring or whatever, or making their way to Gorilla back in the day. So I think the set could be real, the puppets could be real, and what we saw is basically what was going on in Bray's mind. So I think that means that the Funhouse is a physical place that can be visited. And I don't know that the group, I would imagine these vignettes will be based there. I don't know that this is where the group operates per se. I just think that these interviews, if you will, I could see them all occur in there. Long term, I don't know where we go. I think that's a really interesting conversation to have. Long term, where are we going? You know, are we going to go into cabins? Are we going to fire up the Funhouse again? And actually bring it back to life? I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know long term where we go. I think that's quite an interesting question that needs to be answered. I think what we might do actually is we might even do a question that I put up and get your responses to it. In fact, let's do it now. I'm going to do it live right now. So let's do the feedback required. Feedback required. Where do you think the Wyatt Sicks should hold their promos? Firefly Funhouse, in the woods, in a cabin, mixture of all these, somewhere else. Let me know where and why. Let me know where and why. Right, I think we'll do that, and I could see us doing a video on that. That'll probably hit the second channel. That'll probably hit the second channel tomorrow. So there we go. Keep an eye out for that. Just go to Wrestling Daze YT on Twitter. Lovely. Right, so we've done that. We've done that. We've done that. We've got this as well. So not sure if anyone has looked into this. There seems to be a few flashes of the family in that VHS tape. The first two are around 24 seconds. The other one seems to show a sixth member. So if we bring this up, this is the picture we looked at earlier, which got retweeted out by Nikki Cross, right? Then you get this, and there's something here. Now, I don't know what this is. I don't know that this is a sixth person, right? I don't know if you can get a bit closer. I can't tell if that's maybe not the shoulder of Erick Rowan. I can't tell if it's a bit of his body and a bit of like his mallet as well. I mean, clearly he is in a slightly different position. Look, his face on there. And then here, he's kind of turned over to the side. So I think there's a chance that what you're seeing is more of his shoulder, more of his arm, and maybe a bit of the mallet being in there. But you can certainly understand why people would look at that there and go, no, it's a bit high to be his shoulder. Is that just a glimpse? Is it just a glimpse of a sixth member? I'm leaning towards no. I'm only leaning towards no, right? But I'm leaning towards no. And the big reason is because we can see that he's changed direction. There, he is face on. There, he's over to the side. That does open up the possibility that this is just his arm and his shoulder. I don't know. It's this was one I wanted to present to you so that I could get your thoughts on it. So there we go. We've had that bit as well. So get your thoughts on that. Yeah, this was good. This is from back in the day. This is going back a long time. Look at this old WWE logo here. So here I was just watching an old Sportskeeda video. I found this. The liar stuff has really been going on that long. So here you can see liar written across the chest. I think that might be the Miz. It's got awesome written on the shirt. It's been ripped open. I don't quite remember the moment. I mean, you know, the sheep's mask and everything being used and being put on people's faces. I remember when they were doing that to, like, John Cena. I mean, you really are going back to early kind of Wyatt family. So I think we're looking at, like, you know, your 2014, 2015 kind of period here. But, yeah, you know, they got the sheep's mask on. But the liar is what people are interested in. And obviously that will spark a few thoughts and a few theories. Was Uncle Howdy's presence around at this point? Has Uncle Howdy ever really shown himself within Bray before? We know that Bray said that the Uncle Howdy character came to him in a dream during a really dark period. But I don't know if in kayfabe, in storyline, if that's what they're kind of going with. So yeah, it is. It's just a words. I mean, it could just be nothing more than a coincidence, of course. But obviously, all these little things people like to have a little look into. So, Colton, thoughts? My thoughts are very interesting. Very interesting. It'll be interesting to see if there's any other kind of moments that connect with Howdy that maybe showed themselves all that time ago. But right now, I would say it's probably a good chance it's just coincidental. And then this is our last one up here. So your local Genlus says, I figured out what the numbers might mean. We got a tweet on the 24th and the 25th. What if our next tweet is the 28th? So the tweets kind of relate all the way back to the official Twitter account, which is this, the Wyatt Sicks. So if we actually go to that, here it is, 23,000. You can see we got one on the 25th, which might have been one of those numbers. It's hard to tell. And so does it mean that they'll tweet out again on the 28th? Is it a little bit of a clue as to when they're going to be tweeting? Don't know. Lots of thoughts and theories on those numbers. To be honest, we'll just see what they say next week and kind of take it from there. And that's it, my friends. That is it. Don't know if we'll get a chance to do any other Nightbird videos. I mean, obviously, we'll do that one on the second channel about where would you like the promos to be held, which I think would be a good conversation. And we can continue to do opinions videos on things like that. But I don't know. I really don't know what else we're going to be getting this week. So I'm not sure if we'll get a chance to do another like Wyatt Sicks video this week. But either way, if there's stuff to talk about, we'll be here to talk about it. So I might see you again for another video on this topic. If not, we'll be doing unseen videos, and you know, we've got SmackDown, obviously, watch along on Friday. We've got plenty of stuff to be getting our teeth into all the same. So thanks a lot for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.